This page is the cover of Sega Saturn Fan Magazine number 15, dated August 7, 1998. The cover promotes Sonic Adventure for Dreamcast, with the tagline, "User participation in the Dreamcast version production presentation." It also highlights the conclusion of Super Robot Wars F, along with Forbidden Strategies. Other games and topics mentioned include Radiant Silvergun, Godzilla, Mercurius Pretty, Monster Breed, Martian Successor Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Years, Bakken Loader, Slayers Royal 2, Digital Monster Ver. S. Digimon Tamers, Shining Force 2i, Scenario 3. The next page is an advertisement for Madou Monogatari on the Sega Saturn. It showcases the game's characters and battle scenes, highlighting its vibrant graphics and charming aesthetic. The ad emphasizes the familiar characters from the Puyo Puyo series and the fun, unique world of Madou Monogatari. A limited edition version with trading cards is available, and the standard edition retails for 5,800 yen. This page is a content index page for a Sega Saturn Fan Magazine. The cover features the game Radiant Silvergun. There's a special feature on Super Robot Wars F, covering strategies not found in official guides. Other strategy guides highlighted include Eternal Blue and Radiant Silvergun. The Sega Dynamic Preview section covers the games Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Years, Shining Force 2i, Scenario 3, and Bakkenroder. Detective Story is featured prominently, advertising a competition with prizes. There are previews for upcoming games, including Sonic Adventure, Godzilla, Mercurius Pretty, Monster Breed, and various others. There are regular features, like the 1C serial section, reader contributions, ranking charts, and upcoming release schedules. It also previews Saturn Soft Navigator, as well as the game indexes and next issue previews. It also discusses some Saturn development projects. Finally, there's an advert for the game Cross Tante Monogatari, Detective Story, which seems to be advertised using a collage of images and characters. There are also some prizes to be won if the game is completed in the fastest time, such as a trip to Italy and DVD/MD players. The next page is a special feature focusing on Super Robot Wars F, Final Chapter, and its secrets, which were previously unrevealed. It teases second playthrough content and hidden elements not included in official strategy guides. The feature covers several topics, including how to recruit Master Asia, Tuhu Fuhai, viewing the Ideon ending, having Jungfreud join your team, recruiting Saramas, and obtaining Char Aznabal's Zaku 2. There's also a section on forbidden techniques, such as unlimited spirit commands, controlling Berserk Evangelion Unit 01, getting mysterious enhancement parts, and the possibility of splitting the Bilbine or Master Asia. It also describes various hidden characters and units. The page details how to recruit Master Asia, explaining the steps involving specific scenarios and battles, including the necessary level of Domin Kashu. The Ideon ending is explained in detail, requiring an Ideon gauge of 160/10 or entering a Berserk state with 0 horsepower. The page mentions release information for the game and hints at more secrets to be discovered in the game. This page highlights secrets and techniques in Super Robot Wars F, Final Chapter. It explains how to recruit Jungfreud by completing specific events and progressing in the story. Jungfreud is described as a powerful unit with high potential but limited availability. The page also details recruiting Saramas within a turn limit and positioning Amuro correctly. The next section deals with acquiring Char Aznabal's Zaku 2 through specific coordinates and conditions in Limitless Kaid Legend. The unit has exceptional mobility and evasion when piloted by a new type. The article explores forbidden techniques that can provide an edge in battle. It mentions unlimited use of spirit commands by exploiting a glitch, allowing access to commands without consuming spirit points. It describes controlling Berserk Evangelion Unit 01, detailing the button inputs needed to trigger counterattacks. The page also explains how to obtain mysterious enhancement parts by using a map weapon with the EVA 01. Also covered is splitting the Bilbine unit by completing certain stages, and also mentions splitting the Master Asia unit by damaging it to a low HP level. This page delves into more character recruitment strategies and unit enhancements in Super Robot Wars F, Final Chapter. It details how to recruit several characters, including Todd Guinness, via specific scenarios and character prerequisites. Also covered is how to persuade Allenby Beardsley, how to change the conditions to recruit Fa Murasame, and how to trigger events to recruit Annabelle Gatto and Heyman Karn. There's also details about persuading the character Quattro Bagina. The condition involves convincing Heyman twice in Axis's defense. Additionally, it mentions the requirements for recruiting the W-Series members and saving the Urgo soldiers. Other topics covered include upgrading the Zaliel unit, how to recruit the Kubli Mk2, and the requirements to unlock the EVA ending. It also describes how to enhance units, including GPO-2A and the new Zeal, as well as the process for fully upgrading units and the special bonuses gained from doing so, such as increased HP, N, armor, and mobility. It gives an example of specific unit upgrades, such as a power-up for the Mazinger Z. It briefly suggests the fin funnel weapons are good upgrade options. The next page is focused on combat strategies in Lunar 2, Eternal Blue on the Sega Saturn. It covers 4 techniques to use in battle, such as confirming enemy types before engaging, considering distance, and using AI settings. There are tips for when to use AI and how to customize battle strategies. The page highlights the importance of adapting your strategy based on enemy distance, suggesting magic or special moves for distant foes and direct attacks for closer enemies. There is advice for when a character called Jean joins the party, suggesting you should let her handle distant enemies due to her special attack. The page also mentions setting up AI strategies, like prioritizing weapon attacks or long-range attacks. It also gives tips on using the escape command to avoid battles. This page highlights tips for combat in the East Sayon Desert area of Lunar 2, Eternal Blue, including enemy information and map tips. The page advises focusing on leveling up Hyro to at least level 7 before proceeding, and to be wary of the Desert Eye enemies, which can be tough. It also recommends returning to the map's starting point to heal at the nearby statue when low on health or MP. The page gives tips on using the dash ability to avoid battles. It also lists monster data for enemies like the Dolphin Face, Beetle, and Desert Eye, including their HP, Express, and weaknesses. The page gives tips on characters Hyro, Ronfa, and Jean, including learnable skills and their effects. For Hyro, it lists skills such as Skydance / Airshock, and Whirlwind / For Ronfa, it covers skills like Dice of Destiny, Blessing Hands, and Prayer of Return. It mentions the skill Enchanting Kiss. The next page features a strategy guide for the Blue Maze and Blue Tower dungeons in Lunar 2, Eternal Blue, detailing how to navigate the areas and overcome challenges. It emphasizes the importance of activating all 4 switches on both the first and second floors to progress, and offers a warning about tough enemies within the dungeons. The page suggests using Hyro's Airshock skill, especially if leveled up from grinding in the East Sayon Desert. It notes that upon exiting the tower, Lucia will be sealed, leading directly to a boss fight, so it is best to fully restore HP and MP at the statue inside the tower before proceeding. Item locations are given, and enemy data is listed for monsters such as slimes, mask floaters, goblins, and crystal soldiers. The boss, Guardian, is also detailed, noting the importance of using Galeon's last magic spell, Last Armor, and focusing on Hyro's Skydance / attack. This page provides battle advice for Lunar 2, Eternal Blue, focusing on the town of Rupa and the Valken ship. The guide highlights the importance of Ronkofa, the healer, and suggests prioritizing his level up for attack skills. It advises against buying new equipment in Rupa, recommending saving money for better gear in Dalton. The page details item locations in the western Sayon Desert and Rupa's escape route, including the Stardust Light at Point A. It also gives tips for traversing the escape route, warning about tough enemies like buzzflies, which can be defeated using an airshock attack. Enemy data is provided for monsters like slimes, buzzflies, dolphin faces, poison beetles, and scorpions, along with strategies for defeating them in the western Sayon Desert. There's also a map and tips on navigation and item collection in these areas. Furthermore, the guide covers the Valken ship, advising players to equip the best gear before entering, and suggesting grinding for money in the western Sayon Desert if needed. It lists items available in Dalton, and provides a route map for the Valken ship's interior. The page emphasizes the need to defeat all enemies to progress, especially the strong infants and guardians, and to use heroes' special moves. It also notes that the statue in the first level is a good place to recover health and magic power before starting the next level. The next page continues with battle advice for Lunar 2, Eternal Blue, this time focusing on the caravan in the Starsight Forest. It highlights the appearance of formidable Sako enemies and advises players to manually manage their actions to conserve MP. The guide offers tips for navigating the Starsight Forest, mentioning a conversation between Hyro and Lucia, and the presence of an Althena statue at the entrance for healing. It details the location of items such as the Stardust Light and Chainmail within the Rance Sea Forest. The page advises players to search for hidden exits in the Sea Forest by looking for patches of grass that can be cleared. The guide emphasizes caution in the Rance Sea Forests, especially against hobgoblins and goblin kings, and recommends using special moves to defeat them. It lists enemy data for monsters like goblins, hummingbirds, buzzflies, and goblin kings, along with their weaknesses. The page also covers the caravan encounter, noting that Jean joins the party after the planetarium attack. The guide gives advice for fighting the planetarium boss, suggesting the use of Ronfa's protection magic, Hyro's vacuum slash, and Jean's sleep step attack. This Lunar 2, Eternal Blue guide advises players on navigating Demise's village and Haribote dungeon. Key advice includes speaking to the hooded figure in the tavern, stocking recovery items, and prioritizing item-based healing due to the lack of an Althena statue. The guide maps the Demise mountain path, highlighting locations for crucial recovery items: Refreshing Ring, Wind God Ring. It details enemy stats, HP, experience, for Stone Elms, Skull Harpies, Hell Gigantes, and Hell Worms, emphasizing weaknesses. The guide lists purchasable items in Demise's village with prices and effects. Players should conserve MP by using escape strategically, aware of strong enemies. Finally, the guide recommends talking to villagers and defeating enemies for experience. The next page is a strategy guide for Radiant Silvergun, focusing on scoring high. It explains the chain bonus system, where defeating enemies of the same color consecutively grants bonus points, increasing with each enemy defeated. The guide mentions secret bonuses, including Memory Bonus, MB, and Secret Chain, SC, obtained by attacking specific locations. It also details weapon bonuses earned by fulfilling specific conditions for each weapon, and the importance of improving weapon levels in the order of A, C, and then B. It offers stage-by-stage strategies for levels 3A, 3B, and 3C. Stage 3A focuses on achieving a secret chain early, aiming for 320,000 points, and utilizing the Hipper Sword. Stage 3B emphasizes chain bonuses for around 96,000 points. Stage 3C is also based around chain bonuses, and provides strategic advice for each stage, including enemy positioning, Hyper Sword usage, and memory bonus locations. The page also covers enemy hitboxes and safe zones, and lists game details, release date, developer, price, genre, and player options. This page continues the Radiant Silvergun Strategy Guide, focusing on stages 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, 3D, and 3E, with tips for scoring high. It details specific strategies for each stage, including enemy patterns and locations of memory bonuses and secret chains. It also highlights the importance of weapon bonuses and maintaining chain combos. The guide emphasizes utilizing specific weapons and techniques like Seask bursts and a +B combinations to maximize scores. It also mentions safe zones and hitbox information to help players avoid damage. The next page continues the Radiant Silvergun Strategy Guide, now focusing on stages 2E, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, and 4E. It provides detailed tips and strategies for each stage to maximize scoring opportunities. For Stage 2E, the guide advises positioning and prioritizing targets, including utilizing A+B attacks and managing memory bonuses, while for 4As it tells you to focus on red enemy chains in what is a stage that is otherwise difficult with its surroundings. In Stage 4B, specific advice is given for obtaining memory bonuses, targeting turrets, and navigating electrical hazards. Stage 4C highlights the importance of choosing between red and blue enemies for chain bonuses, and also explains boss patterns and weak points. Stage 4D talks about the use of SC and its effect on the boss. Lastly, in Stage 4E, it describes the final boss patterns, optimal weapon choices, and strategies for the boss. This page is a dynamic preview of the game, The Blank of 3 Years, billing itself as a fan service increase of 200%. It emphasizes new elements that will appeal to hardcore fans, The game fills in the story of what happened in the 3 years between the end of the TV series and the theatrical movie, with familiar characters returning. There's a focus on communication, with communication scenes that mirror the TV show with unique characters. A key element is the return of the character Itsuki Kazama from the TV show. This character is a pilot and is a new addition to the game. She disappeared in the TV show, but the game will show how she returns and also how she impacts the story. The page teases the introduction of 2 new original Estevalis frame designs, designed by Mika Akitaka. These frames include the underwater combat variant and a land-based trailer variant that can transform into an air combat Estevalis. Finally, there's a segment called Naze Nani Nadesiko that explains the game's features with the characters Ruri and Eureka. There are also additional characters from the show, and this section explains how to easily progress through the game. The next page features Shining Force 2-1, Scenario 3, subtitled The Shrine of the Ice Wall. The headline announces the unveiling of new characters in Scenario 3, suggesting that Julian's army might be in a harem state. The article introduces 3 new female characters who will join Julian's army, each with classes like Magic User, Archer, and Priest. The author speculates that the addition of these characters will make the army even more gorgeous, hinting at romantic possibilities. Character profiles are given for Princess Isabella, the 3rd princess of the Destonian Empire; Bridget, a tomboyish elven mage; Kate, an archer. The page also includes game screenshots and release information. The release date is set for September 24th, developed by Sonic/Camelot, and priced at 4,800 yen. This page covers Shining Force 2I Scenario 3, highlighting new features, locations, and enemies. It introduces places like Aspia Town, rebuilt from Scenario 2, and Foothill Village, where players encounter the Dragon God's reincarnation event. The article previews new enemy encounters, such as Colossus vs. Dawnhort and Helmcrab vs. Julian. It delves into the new summoning magic, showcasing its dark power and comparing it to characters like New One from Shining Force. The page also features an excerpt from the game's opening movie, teasing the adventure ahead and showing Julian facing off against an ice golem. Finally, it details a premium disc giveaway for Shining Force 13 purchasers, which includes behind-the-scenes content, a polygon viewer, sound tests, and a special battle mode. The next page is about the upcoming release of Waschenroder and highlights several exciting features. It reveals that Ian MacDonald, formerly of King Crimson, composed the main theme for the game, also known as the man who made the theme for the game, and it also talks about his musical history. The page teases unlockable content after completing the game, including a movie gallery with high-quality CG scenes, a voice gallery with character dialogues and BGM, and an art gallery featuring character designs and model photos by Renji Murata, Takayuki Takeya, and Yoshitoshi Abe. The game is a simulation RPG developed by Sega and is set to be released on August 6th. This page delves into the story and gameplay of Waschenroder, focusing on various characters, environments, and strategic elements. The article highlights the journey of Lucian and Carol, showcasing key locations such as the execution ground, where they fight to save a man, and the sewers from which they escape. The game introduces weather conditions that affect gameplay, such as character movement and weapon cooling. The game features tactical maps like Moonflowers, set in a forest with varied terrain, and Wam Village, which offers unique strategic opportunities. Characters like Leora and Velvet are introduced, adding depth to the story. The article also touches on a key mechanic where players can choose their combat units. This page showcases Backginner, Fly High Edition Battlefield of Betrayal, a dramatic simulation game. It emphasizes the deep story and character development. The game features approximately 40 minutes of animated visuals. The game is a sequel in a 3-part series, with this installment focusing on elements revamped from the previous title. The opening animation has been reworked in a TV anime style, featuring the song sung by Yuka Imai, known for her role as Natsumi. New elements include power-up items placed on the map, such as PLA modules, which allow for shell upgrades. There are also supply kits for replenishing ammunition and HP. A digest version of the previous game, Backginner, Awakening Edition, is included for those who haven't played it. New team members join the story. The next page delves into the gameplay of Backginner, Fly High Edition Battlefield of Betrayal, highlighting how the game blends anime storytelling with strategic combat. It details how the story progresses through opening events that mix animated scenes and character interactions. These events reveal key plot points and enemy strategies, but can be skipped if desired. The adventure mode lets you explore locations and gather information, while the simulation mode features battles on large maps. The page explains how to power up your units by collecting P modules and upgrading the weapons. The game also lets you customize your mechs and equip them with different weapons to form specialized teams. The story is described with key characters such as Natsumi and Mizuha, plus a short walkthrough of different scenarios and character info for the game's plot. This page introduces the Roommate W game, focusing on the premise of living with two cute girls. It features 19-year-old nursing student Kaori Sato and 18-year-old high school student Yuko Yamaguchi. The game promises a 200% happiness increase through this shared living experience. Kaori Sato is described as a nursing student from Shizuoka. With hobbies including swimming, cooking, and reading children's books, she is a skilled cook who values quality ingredients. Due to a mix-up at the dormitory, she ends up living with the player. Yuko Yamaguchi is a high school student from Sendai, known for her gardening and piano skills. She's described as someone who looks up to the player as an older sibling. Due to her father's job transfer, she temporarily lives with the player until her family joins her in Tokyo. Yuko is shy, but sweet, and has a picky appetite. The page concludes with game details and the concept of living together with the two heroines. The next page continues with more details about Roommate W, emphasizing its realistic elements. The game incorporates the Saturn's internal clock, syncing in-game time with real time. This means that if the player starts the game on a certain day, that day becomes the first day in the game, and events occur according to the actual time. The game features various events, including story-driven events, free events, date events, and visual picture events. The chances of events occurring are doubled due to the presence of two roommates. One can also visit the girls in their rooms or wander around the house, and meeting them under specific conditions triggers events. The page also touches on how the game handles periods when the heroines are away, such as during school hours. Players can communicate with them via pinmail, leave messages, or play card games. The page then discusses the potential for drama in a three-person living arrangement. Kaori is described as a caring older sister type, while Yuko is somewhat immune to romantic advances at first. Towards the bottom of the page, there is information about the voice actors. The fresh voice acting combination is of Eriko Fujimaki, who voices Kaori Sato, and Yukari Hikita, who voices Yuko Yamaguchi. Both are affiliated with Agamane Production and have worked on various drama creds, anime, and radio programs. The next page features Find Love 2 Rhapsody, a dating simulation game where the player manages a mansion and interacts with 10 heroines. The game emphasizes realistic elements through conversations, movement, and dating scenarios. Players can explore the game's map, visiting locations like schools and mansions, and schedule dates. The conversation system changes based on the player's attitude, with options like normal, Kiza, and wild, affecting the dialogue. The page introduces 10 heroines: Kyoko Ikusawa, Tomomi Yoshino, Minako Sawada, Chiharu Sakakibara, Arisa Honjo, Koharu Koizumi, Nagisa Ida, Naoko Takanashi, Kei Arimori, and Junko Asami. The page also mentions a contest where 3 winners will receive a copy of Prologue, and 5 winners will get a set of 3 cards. This page focuses on Gakuen Toshi DX, a mahjong game that builds upon its predecessor by adding new maps and characters. The goal is to raise the Mo level by winning mahjong matches and capturing increasingly sexy photos of the heroines. Winning mahjong games allows the player to take sexy photos of the characters to increase the Mo level. The game features 9 heroines, including a new character, Ryoko Sakata. 6 of them serve as potential models, while the other 3 are sub-characters who challenge the player to mahjong matches. The level of Mo varies among characters, requiring players to aim for high-scoring hands to unlock all the sexy photos. The game allows exploration of 25 locations to find potential models. The graphics change based on the stage, with more Mo elements appearing. Players can take up to 3 photos per stage. The page also lists details, such as the release date, September, the developer and publisher, Make Software, the price, 5,800 yen, the genre, table game, and the age rating, 18+. The game's development status is at 85%, as of July 16th. The next page is split into two distinct promotional segments for different games. On the left, it features Astra Superstars, a fighting game where battles revolve around lucky stars. The page shows a group of colorful characters and screenshots of in-game fights, alongside details on a promotional giveaway where 5 people will win original illustrations. Also includes product details, such as the release date of August 6, 1998, and the price of 5,800 yen before tax. On the right is an advertisement for a visual novel or adventure game series called Oyu-sama Tokyu, including the tagline, "That morning, I boarded my dreams." It showcases artwork of characters at a bus or train station, alongside details about the media expansion, including comic, CD drama, and strategy guide releases. Also mentions a memorial campaign from July 30th to August 31st, where the game is giving away original cell pictures and pins. The next page features 2 games. On the left, it's a promotion for Guardian Force, a shooting game that supports 360-degree attacks. The text encourages players to aim for high scores in time attack mode. It highlights the game's features, including multi-directional scrolling and varied stages, including characters and various weapons and shots. It also teases the unlockable graphics data and assets from Cotton 2 that can be seen in the game. On the right, there is a promotion for Magical Night Dreams Cotton 2, which comes with minigames and digital data. The advertisement details the included items like minigames and screensavers, also including CD data and music data. The release date is August 21st, with a price of 3,800 yen. Also on the right is an advertisement for How to Become a Wizard, an RPG game that aims to nurture wizards. It is scheduled for release in the summer of '98, priced at 6,800 yen. This page presents a yes-no diagnosis to help readers find the right strategy guide for their gaming needs. It starts with questions related to specific games, leading to recommendations for the Ugigihu Hayashi strategy guides. The games featured in the quiz are Langrisser V, to know where enemy reinforcements appear, Brave Fencer Musashi, to learn Getten techniques, Star Ocean, the second story, for help defeating bosses, Luna 2, Eternal Blue, if you're getting lost, Deep Fear, if you're unsure what to do next, Pocket Fighter, if you can't beat your friends, Super Robot Wars, Final Completion, to discover hidden robots, and Baroque, for items data lists. The page highlights the 34-game strategy guide covering SS, PS, and N64 titles, emphasizing easy-to-read maps, complete charts, and extensive data for a comprehensive approach. The strategy guide is priced at 790 yen and was released on July 31st. The page also lists some featured games including World Cup France, 98, Langrisser V, Luna, 2 Eternal Blue, and Pokemon Stadium. The next page delves into a variety of topics. It features High School Terra Story with the tagline, "Won't you try falling in love?" Also includes advertisements for the original anime videos. The Conehead Club section discusses trends, including ramen and figures. It mentions figures from Nadesico and Sentimental Graffiti, and anecdotes about buying Super Robot Wars F Final Completion and getting the lyrics wrong for Combattler V. Readers share their experiences, such as a story about a Bulgarian exchange student with fluent Japanese, and another about a child debuting in the arcade game Virtual On and struggling with doldry in Oratorio Tangram. There's a section for readers to submit their stories, featuring stories of an individual who just got accepted to college and bought 2 TVs for Grangunrafon, 2 cable play, and a story about a person whose misfortunes made it a very bad year, including injury, theft, and fire. The illustrations and artwork on the page seem to be reader submissions. It mentions Dreamcast as well. This page is a submission form for the Saturn Fan Magazine. It includes sections for submitting game scores, general stories, and other content. Readers can provide their address, name, pen name, phone number, and age. The form mentions that it's for submitting stories and illustrations to Saturn Fan, and reminds readers to mark the intended section with a circle. It has a note about any type of postcard being acceptable. However, using the forms in the magazine saves time. The next page features reader-submitted artwork and thoughts. The illustration gallery showcases fan art of characters like Dracula and Princess Crown. Readers share their opinions, like wanting to see Saturn ports of games on the Dreamcast, and expressing nostalgia for older titles. One fan requests the inclusion of specific characters and content in a possible Rai Types compilation. The Manga de Go section solicits reader submissions and feedback on the magazine. Kids Hope discusses reader thoughts on the then-new Dreamcast, with some expressing concerns about its software lineup compared to the Saturn. One person wishes for more buttons on the Dreamcast controller for fighting games. Corn Kids Network Board features reader feedback on the Dreamcast. Some suggest that the console needs titles like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy to succeed, while others believe that focusing on unique Dreamcast experiences is the way to go. There are also concerns about game releases and the importance of developers supporting their titles. Sega Am Freak highlights the game Back and Loader. Cornhead Club spotlights fan art of characters from Lafayette Revolutionnaire Utena. Illustration Hall of Fame announces the winner of the Best Illustration with a drawing of the Back and Loader character and lists the rankings of other submitted illustrations. This page, We Are Supporters, showcases fan art and writing about various video games. Sections include Dragon Force Fan Club, featuring Dragon Force characters like Lean, Imperial Guards, dedicated to Sakura Wars, 2's Rennie Milchstrasse, Lang's Garden, focusing on Langrisser, New Supporters, Whispers to Distortion, featuring Baroque fan writings, Paradise S, showcasing Devil Summoner Soul Hackers characters, Grandia Soldiers, centered on Grandia characters, and Corn Kids Q&A, answering reader questions about the site and anger management. A How to Submit section provides guidelines and warnings. Artwork from Baroque, Grandia, and Dragon Force is included, along with a popular fan request from Nara Prefecture. The next page is a reader's survey for a gift giveaway of 50 prizes. To enter, readers must fill out a questionnaire and send it in by August 6th. The survey asks about reading habits, owned and desired game consoles, and favorite software. It also asks readers to rate games they've played from a specific list. Readers must also indicate which machine they prefer: professional consoles, PlayStation, N64, or PC. And if they want games moved from Saturn, the same applies. The page highlights 10 software titles as prizes, and lists various game titles in tables, but does not include all details. The software is categorized as follows: Sega Saturn and Dreamcast. Includes titles like The Legend of Heroes 1 and 2, Advanced World War, Sonic Adventure, and Soul Divide. Software readers have played features titles such as Druid, The Trance of the Traveler, Another Memories, Sega Ages/Galaxy Force 2 gift list. The featured prizes are titles such as Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Years, and Shining Force 2-1, Scenario 3. The next page features ranking information from Ranking Street, covering game sales, popularity, and desired ports. It analyzes the sales results of Pocket Fighter and declares it number 1. The Saturn sales rankings are split into 2 periods, June 29th to July 5th and July 6th to July 12th. For the first period, J-League Japan Professional Soccer League. World Soccer Winning 1198 ranks first, followed by World Cup 98 France, Road to Win, and Langrisser V, The End of Legend. In the July 6th to July 12th period, Pocket Fighter takes the top spot, with J-League Japan Professional Soccer League, World Soccer Winning 1198 second, and Langrisser V, The End of Legend. There's a popularity ranking for NEC Interchannel games, with Pia-E Yukoso at the top, followed by Black Matrix and Friends Seishun no Kagayaki. The page also lists the top titles readers would like to see ported. White Album and Street Fighter 03 are at the top, followed by other titles such as Cyberdoll and King of Fighters 98. This page is a deep dive into reader opinions and game reviews from the Sega Saturn Fan Magazine. The Game Achievement Chart presents reader rankings and game reviews focusing on 3 titles: World Cup 98 France, Road to Win, Ebarouge Special, Love and Magic Academy Life, and I Shogi 2 Sega Saturn version. The reviews offer mixed opinions. World Cup 98 is criticized for being too similar to previous installments, but praised for its inclusion of the World Cup mode and Japanese national team. Ebarouge Special is noted for its improved event system but restrictive elements. iShogi 2 is commended for its user-friendly interface and beginner-friendly features. The page features comments from the editor and reader opinions and experiences, including anecdotes about playing games with family members and humorous encounters. It announces a game review contest for the next issue, inviting readers to submit their critiques for a chance to win prizes. A popularity ranking lists the top 10 favorite and least favorite articles in the magazine. Black Matrix tops the list of favorite articles, while Sengoku Turb is considered the least appealing. Finally, there are lists of winners of the survey, followed by a list of games for Teleka and other gifts. The next page highlights prize items available in August, focusing on Sega and Banpresto merchandise. Starting with Sega's prize section, there are Sonic and Tails Super Jumbo plushies that are about 40 centimeters tall and are from UFO Catcher 800. Also available are Sakura Wars Melody mugs and Sega Saturn t-shirts. The mugs play a tune when lifted, and the t-shirts feature Sega Saturn imagery. Banpresto's prize offerings include a Super Robot Wars Hot-Blooded Alloy series and Gundam light-up keychains, as well as Capcom character figures, about 16 centimeters tall. There's a gift section, which explains how to win the Sonic and Tails plushies, Sakura Wars mugs, Sega Saturn t-shirts, Super Robot Wars, Alloy figures, Gundam keychains, and Capcom character figures. Finally, there's a page titled Dreamcast Frontline, which announces 4 new games, with Sonic Adventure as the headline. Other games mentioned include Godzilla, Mercurius Pretty, Monster Breed, Pen Pen Tricelon, Seventh Cross, and Sengoku Turb. The page also has a NEC Interchannel Progressive 2D advertisement. This page is all about the announcement of Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast. It talks about a user participatory event being held at the Tokyo International Forum on August 22nd. The page features comments from producer Yuji Naka and PR representative Tadashi Takezaki, discussing their passion for the game and the event. Yuji Naka mentions that Sonic Adventure is the first new game since Sonic and Knuckles in 4 years. He discusses the game's development and how it started as a Sonic RPG concept, but evolved into an action game with a strong focus on story and fast gameplay. He also expresses excitement about the Dreamcast's capabilities and how it allows for graphics and animations that were previously only possible on high-end machines. The page gives details about the event, including that it's free and on a first-come, first-served basis. There will be demonstrations of the game, appearances from developers, and potentially Sega executives. The venue details and contact information are provided for those who want to attend. It is also said the demo featured at the Dreamcast launch event will be shown. The next page is an announcement for a Godzilla game coming to the Dreamcast. The game is tentatively titled Godzilla and is billed as a water explosion monster game aimed at allowing players to rampage as Godzilla. Comments indicate the developers are excited about using the Dreamcast capabilities to create a Godzilla experience unlike anything seen before in prior games, with quality visuals, weight, and impact that allows players to freely destroy cities. The game is described as action, but not limited by traditional action game scope. Included are screenshots of Godzilla in action, as well as a look at Mechagodzilla. Development is at an early stage. This page announces the Dreamcast game Godzilla, inviting players to rampage as the iconic monster. It highlights the game's focus on realistic destruction and features Mechagodzilla alongside the titular character. The game aims to recreate the feeling of being Godzilla, allowing players to destroy cities with detail and precision. The page includes an interview with the developers, who express their passion for the project and their commitment to delivering an authentic Godzilla experience. They want players to be able to enjoy the world of Godzilla, mentioning the team also wants players to be able to perform different actions, like kicking, swinging their arms, and using the tail to topple buildings. The developers also discuss a planned tie-in with the Atsume Godzilla game, hinting at potential collaborations and bonuses for players who collect monsters in both games. Featured staff include Tomoaki Ogawa, producer, Takeshi Shikazono, director, Ken Asou CG director, and Masanobu Tsukamoto, product management. The next page showcases the Dreamcast game Mercurius Pretty, a fantasy simulation game of alchemical education. The game features detailed 2D graphics, a rarity for the platform, and is described as a port from the PC. It involves raising homunculi and offers a dreamlike experience. The development team is aiming for high-quality animation and graphics, and is working on various anime-style cutscenes. The page mentions that Stack, known for their work on Friends, and Pia Carrot e Yukoso, 2 is handling the graphics. It's also mentioned that this game is the first 2D game for the Dreamcast, developed by NEC Interchannel. This page delves into Mercurius Pretty, focusing on raising homunculi, artificial life forms, over a 2-month period, with daily learning schedules. The player cultivates them using a device, influencing their personalities and appearances, which lead to multiple endings, including one where the homunculus becomes a cat or assists an alchemist. The virtual crystal system is detailed, allowing the player to give the homunculus dreams and experiences, and it is said that in the Dreamcast version, one large crystal is used. There are also event scenes like dances, encounters with wild girls, and battles with swordsmen that influence the homunculus's abilities. The page also explores the homunculus's 4 growth stages, each with unique appearances and personalities. Finally, the Babel Library is mentioned, a place filled with knowledge and winged angels. The Dreamcast version may feature unique homunculus designs. This page provides a deeper look into the design and concepts behind Mercurius Pretty, focusing on the homunculi and other characters. The page showcases initial character designs and expressions of the homunculi, emphasizing their emotional range. There is mention of dialogue options affecting the homunculi's mood and development. Character design sketches of Valkyrie, Arimaspoi, and the Great Courtesan are featured along with initial sketches and some enemies from the game like the Minotaur and a ferocious monster in the deep forest. Details are included regarding their appearances, combat, and story roles. Also discussed are the 4 great spirits who were in the original PC version and the staff involved in the game's development, including the team behind the original PC version and a photo of the prototype of a growth machine used in the game. The next page focuses on NEC Interchannel's Monster Breed, a monster-raising simulation game for the Dreamcast. The concept revolves around raising ideal monsters through breeding, training, and battling. A key feature is the use of visual memory units for on-the-go training and trading monsters with friends. The page highlights the graphical fidelity, noting the use of tens of thousands of polygons per monster. Gonzo, known for their work on Gamera 2, is responsible for the monster designs. The designs include a variety of creatures, such as a dodo-like monster, a bear/crocodile hybrid, and a beetle-like creature. The page includes images of the original design, a modeling render, and the visual memory unit representation for a number of monsters. This page details the core systems of Monster Breed for the Dreamcast. It features 5 key components: Monster Battle League, Main Town, quests, dungeon exploration, and visual memory. The Monster Battle League involves training monsters and competing in tournaments judged on technical skill and artistry, where winning earns digital currency. The Main Town acts as a central hub, with essential buildings like the Breeder House for monster training and the Research Institute for monster breeding and item synthesis. There's also a shop to purchase items and sell unwanted items gained through quests and dungeon exploration. Quests come in 2 types: random quests and story-driven quests that tie into the game's backstory. Dungeon exploration offers opportunities to find rare items needed for monster breeding. Dungeons change each time you enter, but you can use dungeon keys to preserve their layout. The visual memory is used to trade monsters and items, with players assigning prices to their trade goods. The page also mentions titles, awarded based on your monster's training style. Examples include Trainer, Breeder, Master, and Dealer, each with their own criteria for achievement. It also showcases trading monsters with friends, using visual memory units, and it also covers monster care and battles within the VMU. Finally, there is an emphasis on communication within the Monster Breed community. The next page features an interview with the development staff of Pen Pen Tricelon for the Dreamcast. It delves into the game's origins and the appeal of its characters. The developers, Mr. Nakamura and Mr. Kondo, mention their inspiration came from observing penguins at an aquarium. They were struck by the penguins' unique movements, like sliding on their bellies on icy surfaces. The conversation discusses how the game evolved from a simple racing concept to a more action-oriented one, incorporating 3 different racing styles. They praise the Dreamcast's polygon rendering capabilities, allowing for detailed and smooth character animations. They talk about creating characters and environments that were previously impossible on older consoles. The page also showcases screenshots of the game, featuring a pink hippo-like character named Ballery running and sliding. The developers comment on the realistic movements of the characters, even describing them as creepy, in a good way. Finally, they emphasize that the game features a system that allows players to seamlessly travel through diverse landscapes without loading screens, a feat they believe would have been difficult to achieve on the Sega Saturn. The next page is an article about the Dreamcast game Pen Pen Tricelon. The developers want players to kick opponents and secure higher rankings. They emphasize a mix of action and racing. Even players who aren't racing experts can enjoy the game. Up to 16 players can compete using multitaps. Characters don't speak words, but they have their own language from Planet Ice, reminiscent of Panzer Dragoon. Each character has unique abilities for sliding, running, and swimming in different areas. The developers focused on making each penguin feel unique, with special attention to polygon rendering and animation, which made it possible to create detailed and smooth character animations, which was very difficult to achieve on the Sega Saturn. There are 7 main penguin characters, but many more exist on Planet Ice. The page features screenshots of the game showing the changing backgrounds from day to night, and a variety of penguin characters. They are working hard to deliver a game that players will enjoy. Screenshots show characters Ballery, Sparky, and Sneak Racing, and a preview of the viewing angle during actual gameplay. This page details the evolution process in the game Seventh Cross, from tiny organisms to advanced lifeforms. It explains how the game utilizes neural recognition to allow player characters to evolve into various forms. The first step involves starting as a weak, plankton-like organism, where the primary actions are simply running away and searching for food. The next step involves evolving into a slightly larger form after consuming a certain amount of food, although still lacking any attack methods. The final step involves evolving into the ultimate form of a primitive organism, capable of swimming effectively, but still defenseless. The origin represents a base form that can eventually attack. After this stage, the game introduces data sheet input, leading to player-specific evolutions. The page features a demon form as an example of an attack-oriented evolutionary path, equipped with a saber and handgun, and boasting a durable metal body. The reviewer comments on the impressive graphics and high-tech aspects of the game. The next page showcases new characters for the game Langrisser V, The End of Legend. It introduces key figures from the Sheep Country who are in opposition to the Cat faction, and includes the Princess of the Sheep Country, her attendants, and commanders. The characters introduced include Gertrude, a Sheep Country resident and commander of the Sheep Army, devoted to battling Gino. Other characters are Patra, an attendant to Princess Nietzsche, and Alice, a sheep soldier and dance enthusiast. Tarita, another attendant, focused on writing books, and Nietzsche, the princess herself, lamenting the conflict. There is mention of a limited edition item, a signed illustration by character designer Yuko Kuroyanagi. The page also provides gameplay details, with a focus on hidden summoning magic in Langrisser versus. It outlines how to exploit summoning magic effectively by linking summon actions to maximize their use in battle. The page also has a list of items needed to summon items and the necessary magic. The page has a summary of the game data and stats, including attack, defense, intelligence, MP, and movement for various summonable creatures. In addition, a small manga strip by Kuroyanagi is featured. This page is dedicated to strategies for Langrisser V, The End of Legend, covering scenarios 29 through 32. It offers tips and points for navigating the scenarios, including hidden elements and events. Scenario 29, Rescue, focuses on prioritizing the defense of the townspeople. The key is to guide the citizens and the hero north, splitting your forces between the north and south bridges. Be prepared for reinforcements on turn 3 if you defeat certain enemies. Scenario 30, Infiltration, requires you to defend until reinforcements arrive. It advises escaping south while dealing with enemy reinforcements. Strategic use of magic and ballista attacks against the enemy's long-range units is highly recommended. Hidden events may also affect the power of your characters depending on your responses. Scenario 31, Obstruction, emphasizes quick action to defeat enemies. It suggests swift elimination of enemies and strategic troop placement to handle reinforcements. There are hidden items to find, like the Excalibur and Aeneas armor. Scenario 32, Another's Law, warns against entering ballista fire. It involves dealing with enemies and destroying ballistas using magic. Reinforcements appear on turn 10. The next page discusses strategies for Langrisser V, The End of Legend, detailing specific scenarios and their objectives. It includes walkthroughs for scenarios 1, 2, and 3, outlining victory conditions, failure conditions, and how to access hidden scenarios. Scenario 1 focuses on selling items quickly, Scenario 2 is about protecting a singing character with a microphone, and Scenario 3 is a player versus player experience-based arena with a 5-character victory condition. There are charts for character class changes for Lambda, Alfred, Brenda, Claret, and Langford, including advanced classes like Hermit, High Master, and Dragon Master. It explains that hidden classes for the main character vary based on character creation choices. The page also details how certain choices and actions affect character relationship levels within the game. It mentions events connected to friendship levels from scenarios 26 through 32. This page provides strategies for Cross Detective Story, The Tangled Seven Labyrinths, focusing on the game's 5th and 6th episodes. Episode 5 requires thorough investigation through interviews and use of pointers, with players exploring a hotel. Key elements include bloodstains and a hidden mechanism behind a door. The walkthrough includes steps like examining the crime scene, interviewing characters, and investigating specific rooms. Episode 6 is set in a 3D dungeon, a building that players must navigate to reach the 15th floor before the time runs out, offering map guidance. The floors have various rooms, with some rooms having items that affect the player's speed. The next page features an interview with the developers of Saturn Music School 2, highlighting its attractions. It explores how this educational software allows users to connect a MIDI keyboard to their Sega Saturn and learn to play the piano interactively. The developers Mr. Nakamura and Mr. Sawaguchi discuss the concept behind the software, aiming to make piano learning fun and accessible. They emphasize that Saturn Music School 2 focuses on user feedback and allows users to play popular songs accurately. They also included the Tsukuro composing tool to allow users to experiment with music creation, regardless of musical knowledge. The developers elaborate on the features of Saturn Music School 2, including the finger exercise mode, intended to help users to improve quickly. The developers discuss their goals to make it accessible with the included composing software and inexpensive to get involved. The page includes comments on the character designs and promotes the game's official website. This page is a preview for an upcoming tournament in the Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club 2 game. It features a readers tournament, previewing the first half of the event. The page includes a guide on how to read the match format, including team names, formations, and strategies. It also shows the entry list of the tournament, with team names and their respective strategies, followed by match results. The next page provides a strategy and analysis for Madhu Monogatari, localized as Madhu Monogatari Hanamaru Dai Kindergarten in some regions, focusing on dungeon exploration. It highlights key aspects of the game, such as finding items and understanding the environment. The page details the flow of the game, starting from the town of Relax, progressing through the Kanui Plains, and leading to Arle's house, among other locations. It offers tips on interacting with characters to find items and hints, particularly in the town of Relax, where it is recommended to talk to people to discover hidden items. A map of the Kanui Plains is included, showing the locations of various items. It also warns about enemies, advising players to defeat Mandrake first to obtain a whistle, which helps in returning to the town of Relax. This page appears to be a postcard-style response form from Saturn Fan Magazine number 15. It includes fields for the reader's address, name, phone number, and 2 sections for feedback. One section asks readers to evaluate a game they've played from page 67, table 4, and the other asks what prize they would like to win from this month's offerings. There are also squares where readers can mark their opinions. The next page details maps and strategies for Madhu Monogatari. It starts with maps of the town of Relax, providing shopping lists and item locations. It also covers the back mountain area, giving advice on enemies and finding items. The guide continues to Hot Village, including a shop list and directions for the Forest of Yarn. Finally, it provides strategies for dealing with obstacles and the boss, Arklebear, focusing on using fire attacks and switching characters. The next page continues the strategy guide for Deep Fear, focusing on the MI and junk areas. The guide provides maps and flowcharts to navigate these areas, highlighting important locations like the e-pool, research labs, and the apartment area. There's a list of items to find, including the junk key LV1, first aid kits, various medicines, an air grenade, Pedro's email, a shell box, and insecticide. The guide emphasizes the need to conserve HP, oxygen, and ammo due to frequent enemy encounters. It also gives instructions on how to obtain the junk key, LV1, which is needed to progress. Instructions are given on how to obtain medicine A, highlighting the dangers of toxic gas and the need for a regulator. Advice is given on how to solve a medicine mixing puzzle and what could happen if you fail, and strategies for encountering new enemies on the way from Area 39 to Area 40. Finally, advice is given on how to find medicine B. This page continues the Deep Fear Strategy Guide, now focusing on the apartment and DN areas. It provides maps, move charts 6, 7, and 8, and flow charts for these areas, pointing out key locations and items. In the apartment area, you can find items such as submachine gun magazines, hamburgers, Anna's letter, weapon cards for shotguns, Mossberg 500 ATPS, shell boxes, VTR2s, first aid kits, air grenades, and the DN key. The guide emphasizes revisiting areas to collect items and obtaining the DN key from the dining hall. It also touches on acquiring new weapons after obtaining the DN key and suggests heading to the warehouse on apartment area 3F for a Mossberg shotgun. The DN area section advises players to keep a torch handy, conserve resources, and revisit areas like the communication room for first aid kits and shell boxes. It also notes that Big Jimiev's manual is in Anna's room. Key actions are collecting data to get the torch and using the computer to get Mo to unlock Big Jim. The guide lists items obtainable in the CCD area: Mo discs, first aid kits, shell boxes, Big Jimiev's manual, data Mo, a torch, submachine gun magazines, and air grenades. The guide also introduces new monsters, including Jackdog, Hidden, Cocoon, and Soldier, and provides strategies for dealing with them, such as using machine guns against jackdogs. This page is a strategy guide for Sakura Wars 2: Thou Shalt Not Die. It details the final chapter, focusing on the battle against the Black Demon Society. The guide outlines 6 key locations: Hanamachi Support Branch, battle, in front of the Imperial Theater, Operations Room, battle, Shinjuku, post-battle, and battle, Akasaka. It provides strategies for each location, including enemy stats and recommended tactics. For instance, in the battle in front of the Imperial Theater, it suggests using wind to defeat the Black Demon cannon quickly, and then switching to mountain when close. It also notes that the strategy can be smoother if the Imperial defense removal approach is used. During the Shinjuku battle, it suggests using wind and focusing on defeating the assault cannons, which have high attack and defense. The guide provides advice on character choices and tactical decisions, such as whether to rely on magical weapons or not. There are also some character dialogues and story details, with advice on the character's responses to give when prompted in order to get the best outcome. The next page is also a strategy guide for Sakura Wars 2: Thou Shalt Not Die. It covers strategies for the Akasaka battle, focusing on different approaches depending on the location and enemies. It recommends stealth tactics for regular enemies and frontal assaults against bosses like the Black Demon God of Darkness. For the Akasaka battle, the guide suggests using stealth to avoid unnecessary fights with weaker enemies. It notes that the Black Oni cannon has high attack power and should be prioritized. In the frontal assault strategy, the guide warns of multiple enemy reinforcements and powerful units, but suggests using the fire ability to quickly eliminate them. The guide includes stats for enemies like the Black Demon God of Darkness and the Great Sun Sword, along with tips on how to use combined attacks and take advantage of enemy weaknesses. There's also a section on hidden parameters affecting the character Oriensheim, and how to increase her trust level. High trust levels lead to better combat abilities and combined attacks. Also some tips and tricks to getting the excellent rating in battles, and some info on the series soundtrack CD and associated merch. This page focuses on details about the battle system in Slayers Royal 2. It explains changes and additions to battle icons, including movement, attack, defense, AI, and magic. The movement commands are now limited by action points. New additions include the rest command. It also touches on how AI dictates character actions, and how to wake up incapacitated characters using a slipper. Magic is now interruptible if the character is attacked during incantation. The bottom of the page features images of characters from the game and announces the inclusion of an opening movie. The next page is a preview of Soar Voice, an action RPG with card game elements by Ultron. The game features dungeons with constantly changing layouts containing over 800 types of cards. Players collect these cards and use them in battles outside the dungeons. It describes the 2 main modes: a quest mode, where players explore randomly generated dungeons to collect cards and items, and a duel mode, where players use collected cards in battles. The quest mode involves exploring up to 100 floors of dungeons and battling monsters. The duel mode allows players to compete using the cards they've collected. The main characters, a male character named Rude and a female character named Altina, each have their own unique scenarios, stats, and card availability within the dungeons. The page also touches on the importance of managing distance in duels and strategically using cards to inflict damage. This page details becoming a top-tier Digimon tamer in Digital Monster vs. Digimon Tamers. Beyond simply breeding Digimon, players must train them for battle. Online virtual coliseums, divided into 5 stages, arena being free, offer varying battle conditions. Digimon attributes, e.g., Unimon in sky, Shellmon in water, influence performance. Player support affects Digimon actions through button presses. Digimon parameters like strength and agility determine battle outcomes. Winning battles in specific stages earns medals, granting access to more stages. Digimons evolve through training and battling, culminating in final forms dependent on strategy. The page includes gameplay images and showcases Digimon like Unimon, Shellmon, Monzaimon, and Metal Greymon. The next page is an advertisement for Guardian Force, a shooting game where the player controls a tank. The game emphasizes the use of 5 types of turrets, which are earned by collecting items dropped by defeated enemies, and can be leveled up to level 10. Turrets include a wide-range shot, straight-shot laser, energy attack, bomb, and rockets. It features a 360-degree turret rotation mechanic, controlled via 2 buttons, allowing the player to target enemies from any direction. A special weapon can be activated by pressing all 3 buttons simultaneously, which varies in effect depending on the equipped turret. The page also previews various stages, including the practice stage Red Cap 01, stage A Red Cap 03, stage B Savage Hill, and a stage featuring mini-bosses and a time attack mechanic. It also includes screenshots of in-game action and bosses. The reviewer notes that this game has old-school graphics. This page features the arcade game Astra Superstars, a 2D fighting game developed by Sunsoft, with cute characters and simple controls where the player is in a constant state of flight. The game offers easy-to-use special moves for beginners, and more advanced techniques for experienced players. The game emphasizes continuous attacks to build up the star gauge, while defensive or passive play is penalized. The star rank increases with successful attacks and affects the outcome of timed matches. Players can also evade attacks by moving up and down while airborne. There is a mention of a story mode, in which the difficulty of dialogues changes before battles, and also highlights specific character special moves like Lauren Precious and Angel Twister, and Pentamara's Stream. The page also has comic strips, featuring the characters Stella and her servants, with humorous dialogues. The arcade release date is August 6th. It supports 2 players, 4 megabytes of RAM, 4 player data, and Continist. The next page features 2 games, Waku Waku Monster and Back Ginner Awakening. Waku Waku Monster is a puzzle game with monster-raising elements, where you match blocks to grow your monster into various forms. You can engage in CPU battles to feed your monster blocks, impacting its evolution. There is also a 2-player versus mode, where you can send blocks to your opponent, filling their gauge. Back Ginner Awakening is a strategy simulation game that includes anime cutscenes and a story involving a boy named Shin. The gameplay involves turn-based battles, where players command humanoid weapons called shells to defeat monsters. Leveling up the characters and the weapons equipped, it also features an adventure mode, where players explore headquarters and interact with the crew. It makes use of weapons with different capabilities to attack enemies, improving synchro levels and lowering damage with different types of attacks. The next page introduces Dream Generation, a simulation game focused on balancing career and romance. The game starts a year after the protagonist, Kyonosuke Rokujo, graduates high school at a class reunion and aims to achieve a dream job, such as a professional golfer, film director, or gambler, while pursuing a relationship with a girl. The game schedule is divided into weekdays, Saturdays, holidays, and Sundays. Players improve their skills and build relationships. The page also highlights locations in the game, such as meeting spots, a leisure building, a cinema, and a golf practice area. The page also introduces some male characters, including Kyonosuke's peers and mentors, Jiro Ichinoe, Saburo Shuga, Shiro Kosuje, and Kotaro Tsujido. Finally, there are 9 girls who can be romanced, including Toko Uneze, Kyoko Arishu, Shizue Hazawa, Ayame Miki, Saki Natsukawa, Ruriko Hazumi, Juti Izumi, Ryo Kazeki, and Yuko Shindo. This page features 2 games, Angelique Duet and Valholian. Angelique Duet is a simulation game where you train to become a queen, borrowing power from 9 guardians. This version updates visuals and audio, and allows playing as Rosalia, previously a rival character. The game includes new elements, such as new viewpoints, gifting options, and updated dating scenes. Valholian is a simulation RPG, set in a world where the kingdoms of Raphael and Balt fight for supremacy. The player takes the role of Prince Lei, and fights for peace. The game features turn-based battles, where characters combine attacks for greater damage and element-based attacks. The battles are rendered in 3D polygon graphics. The page also details combat tips, such as the impact of character compatibility. The next page introduces upcoming games slated for release between July 30th and August 6th, along with reviews and ratings from different perspectives. The featured games include Eruf Okaru Monotachi 2, Elves Are Being Hunted 2, Angelique Duet, Dream Generation, and Lovely Population 2-in-1, Janjan Shimasho. Eruf Okaru Monotachi 2, an adventure game based on a comic. The reviewer mentions the interactive anime style, but criticizes the game for forcing player actions and plot inconsistencies. Angelique Duet simulation game is praised for gathering all the best aspects of the first game, deepening character interactions with updated voice acting. Dream Generation is a simulation game noted for its intricate system but criticized for targeting all age groups. Lovely Pop 2-in-1, a table game featuring mahjong and hanafuda, is praised for the inclusion of both janjan and koi-koi, with lessons for beginners. The page also includes reviewer profiles and opinions on what constitutes a good game. This page features several Sega Saturn games released between July 30th and August 6th, with reviews and ratings from different perspectives. First up is Back-Ginner, Awakening Chapter, a simulation title praised for its best of both worlds appeal, though criticized for its somewhat unfocused nature. Next, Ojo-sama Tokyo, roughly translated Young Lady Express, an adventure game, is lauded for its graphics, voice acting, and Akahori Satoru's style, though it leans heavily on familiar tropes. Sho Meikyu Ugi Valholian is a simulation RPG appreciated for its traditional, challenging gameplay and character development, while its polygon graphics are considered distracting. Guardian Force, a shooting game, evokes older titles but suffers from repetitive gameplay and a lack of excitement. Astra Superstars, a fighting game, is designed for beginners but can be unbalanced for advanced players. Finally, Bacon Raider, a simulation RPG, attempts to add strategic depth but falls short in execution. Reviewers praised its character design by Murata Renji and music by Ian MacDonald. The next page showcases Atsumete Godzilla, Kaiju Daishugu, a Dreamcast visual memory game where you collect and battle monsters. Reviewers noted its appeal for multiplayer and its simplicity, but criticized the lack of depth and the excessive time required for monster collection. One reviewer felt the game didn't focus enough on single-player experiences. The page also features artwork and information for the game Dukoku Soshite, highlighting a special illustration collection with over 250 pieces of artwork and unreleased design materials from the game, and mentions it is due for release on August 6th for 2,200 yen. This page is an advertisement for Spike Out, Digital Battle Online, a beat-em-up game developed by Sega AM2. It shows artwork for characters like Spike, Tenshin, White, and Linda, providing details on their backgrounds and fighting styles. Tenshin is described as a tall Japanese fighter from a Yakuza family, and Linda, the single female fighter, is known for her leg techniques. The page also previews gameplay screenshots and highlights the game's focus on super moves and combo attacks, also mentioning the presence of a special attack gauge and area clear mechanics. The reviewer also notes that the game has original elements that are not found in other beat-em-up games. The next page focuses on Dynamite Deca 2, or Die Hard Arcade 2, for international releases with a developer interview covering the game's development, the team's goals, and some insights into its design. The team members interviewed are producer Akira Uchida, designer Daiji Kanazawa, and programmer Tomoyuki Naito. They discussed the pressure of following up a successful first game, the improvements in the game's Model 2 graphics, and the enhanced freedom of movement for the player characters. They also touch on enemy design and the unique traits of the playable characters, such as Bruno's power type and Jean's martial arts skills. The developers share anecdotes about the game's design process, like the inspiration for the arrest move and the addition of food items to restore health. The interview also touches on character abilities, the difficulty level, and some funny details like the chef enemy's special attacks. There's a segment on the character Caroline, or Berg, who has undergone a visual transformation in the sequel, and comments on the chef's cooking techniques, which are effective if you vary your attacks and use items strategically. The page also announces the release of the Dynamite Deca 2 soundtrack CD, featuring music from both Dynamite Deca 2 and the original Dynamite Deca. This page features Racing Jam Chapter 2 with the tagline, "Real Racing, Cool Style." It highlights the game's main appeal, focusing on the fun of multiplayer racing and the ability to race against up to 8 players. The page also introduces the game's 4 courses, which have been revamped, and divides them into 2 levels of difficulty for beginner courses. Beginner Course A, known as Bank Course, features steep 80-degree banks and is a new addition for Chapter 2. Beginner Course B is a night course reminiscent of the original game, set on highways with a redesigned layout and lane width. The intermediate course is called Crossroad Course, known for its figure-8 layout and coastal scenery. The advanced course, Hill Climb Course, offers challenging hairpin turns. The page also previews Beat Mania and promotes a national tournament, announcing that qualifying rounds will be held from July to early August, with the finals on September 20th at the AM Show venue. Additionally, there's coverage of Cyber Troopers Virtualon Oratorio Tangram, showcasing special moves for the mechs, including Temjin's Surfin' Ram and Cypher's SLC, with command inputs for each attack. The magazine highlights specific strategies and explains the advantages and disadvantages of each move. This page of Cyber Troopers Virtualon Oratorio Tangram provides advanced gameplay strategies for various mechs. APH, ARMDB, and S mechs utilize hypertrooperization, double jump plus both triggers, for increased mobility and attack, and air slide kick, both triggers during aerial dash, for quick movement. Valbedo's strategies include Black Hole, launchers plus button combinations, Reflect Laser 2 and 2-stage Reflect Laser, launching launchers, and Interactive Reflect Laser. Specinef's Onabi creates homing flames, while Dordre's Mega Spin Drill requires right rotation plus both triggers. Spinning Upper uses triggers and the right turbo button, and Kama Mawashi uses double lock-on, right rotation, and both triggers. This page details hidden features in various games. Langrisser V. The End of Legend has hidden commands for replaying scenarios and accessing a secret shop. Detective Jinguji Saburo. Dream's End uses passwords to unlock character profiles and minigames. Another Memories reveals special events triggered by specific actions, including how to find Shirley and part-time jobs. Other secrets include unlocking a scene in Detective Jinguji Saburo by being rejected at a bar, interacting with characters on Castlevania's loading screen, fast-forwarding matches in World Soccer RPG, and selecting victory poses in King of Fighters 97. Finally, hidden ESO commercials are mentioned in code ATR, and a voice actor message is available after completing Langrisser verses. The next page contains an interview with the development staff of Detective Jinguji Saburo. Dream's End, the 6th entry in the series, commemorating its 10th anniversary. The discussion features character designer Tadayasu Terada, sub-character designer Ko Takahashi, opening movie director Shimako Sato, and producer Eiichi Nishiyama. They discuss creating compelling visuals and refreshing the series. Tadayasu Terada mentions how Ko Takahashi's involvement was crucial due to his workload and Ko's artistic compatibility. They discuss the opening movie, with the goal of showing cool 2D art rather than relying on polygons. Sato explains the thematic choice of nightmares, using elements like a falling ape angel as a symbol of dread. The team talks about how they added details to the nightmare like feathers falling like snow. They touch on the balance between animating the 2D illustrations and keeping the original art style, and how the final product was a success. The staff also discusses the evolution of Tadayasu Terada's character designs over the series, stating that each version of Jinguji is unique and reflects the artist's current style. They highlight the fact that the package design and character design are done by different people, causing some confusion. Also included is a section that showcases homepages created by Tadayasu Terada and Kodo Takahashi, each having a unique style, and encouraging readers to view them. Finally, the profiles of each staff member are displayed. The next page is a news update section called News Wave, providing the latest information on Sega Saturn-related events and game releases. First off, there's a preview of the Tokyo Character Show, highlighting game characters from various developers, including Imaginia for Eve Burst Error, SNK for King of Fighters 98, and Samurai Spirits 2, Asura Zanmaden. Also featured are Kadokawa Shootin' for Slayer's Gorgeous, and Mobile Battleship Nadesico, as well as Capcom for Vampire Savior and Konami for Tokimeki Memorial. Next is an announcement for the Tokyo Game Show 98 Autumn with details on the venue, dates, October 10th and 11th, and ticket information. The show will feature special areas like a school corner and a network game corner. There's also info on the Sakura Wars birthday event at the Taisho Roman Hall, running from July 25th to August 2nd. The event celebrates Sakura Shinguji's birthday with special merchandise and exhibits. Lastly, there's a brief mention of Sega's homepage, which is showing screenshots of the Dreamcast title Godzilla. This page covers various events, game-related news, and merchandise. An event is announced for the third Yukata Beauty Contest, held at Tokyo Joyopolis, a summer event with beauty contests and stage performances. Also detailed is the Street Fighter 03 Super Battle Tournament, a national-scale competition held across Japan. There's a news piece about Konami suing video producers for unauthorized use of the character Shiori Fujisaki from Tokimeki Memorial. A product spotlight focuses on a TV game selector from Victor, an item that allows easy connection of multiple game consoles. There is an article covering Capcom's Capcom Summer Bomber event for Resident Evil, taking place at the Capcom Circus Niigata Higashi store. The page advertises Refresh Eye, a new functional beverage designed to relieve eye strain. A lawsuit involving the sales of used game software is discussed, with Sega and Arts joining the suit against Famicom shop Wanpaku Kozo. The page then moves on to CD and video guide, with details of Sakura Wars 2 radio drama CD and the Radiant Silvergun soundtrack. Also listed are Sentimental Journey and Etude Prologue Shaking Heart CDs. Finally, there are prize giveaways, including Pocket Fighter Stationery Set, Suche Pai Omake CD, and Waku Waku Monster software. The Saturn Soft Navigator page previews upcoming Sega Saturn games. Sakura Taisen Communication features an adventure game based on the manga, recreating the first two volumes with multiple endings. Capcom Generation 1 collects classic Capcom titles with new elements. The Legend of Heroes In and 2 ports the Falcom PC games, removing action elements. Idol Genshi Tsuchipai Special Edition is a limited edition with new content and a new game mode. Derby Stallion is a horse racing simulation with breeding and training features, and a planned Autumn 98 release. This page introduces upcoming Sega Saturn and Dreamcast titles, focusing on manufacturer information and release calendars. The page highlights several titles, including Shining Force 2, Scenario 3, The Ice Wall of the Evil God, which is nearing completion with impressive graphics. Mobile Battleship Nadesico, The Blank of 3 Years, which is getting a release adapting the movie and TV series into a sound novel adventure game. Black Matrix, a game that is getting close to release. Friends, The Radiance of Youth, with 2 discs of content. Pia Carrot Au Koso, 2 is a sequel to the popular dating simulation. Slayers Royal 2, where the development is progressing. Capcom Generations Volume 3, a collection of classic games. Idol Janshi Tsuchipai Limited Edition, a special version featuring a large cast of characters. First Love Story, a revival of the original title with new scenarios and characters. Sengoku Turb, and D no Shokutaku 2. A release calendar provides dates and prices for games releasing in July, August, and later months. It includes games such as Luna 2 Eternal Blue, Sonic Jam, Ray Force, Steam Hearts, and Find Love 2 Rhapsody, among others. The next page of Sega Saturn Fan highlights the upcoming issue number 16, featuring Buckenloader as the cover motif. The issue includes a special feature covering Buckenloader, Luna 2 Eternal Blue, and Black Matrix, along with coverage of Dreamcast titles like D2 and Pen Pen Tricelon. The page includes contact information for general inquiries, technical support, and advertising, along with a guide to understanding the magazine's spec sheets. The release information is listed as September for Sega and Camelot. The right side of the page has an index of games for the Sega Saturn that mentions titles like Idol Janshi, Tsuchipai, Mecha Gentaiban, Akumajo Dracula X, Gekka no Yasukyoku, which is Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, Another Memories, Guardian Force, Sakura Taisen 2, Saturn Music School 2, Legend of Heroes 1 and 2, J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru 2, Shining Force 3 Scenario 3, Hyuheki no Jashingu, Super Robot Taisen F Kanketsuhen, and Deep Fear, among others. The page also teases the upcoming release of Virtual Call S for the Sega Saturn, a romance simulation game coming this fall. There is also a segment to allow people to submit illustrations. This page advertises the Sega Saturn release of Lovely Population 2-in-1, Yanjan Koisimasho, a mahjong game featuring anime-style girls. The ad includes images of the game's characters and screenshots. There is also information about the limited edition version, which includes a bonus CD with original songs. The standard edition retails for 6,800 yen, while the limited edition costs 7,800 yen. The page lists the voice actors for both Jongjong Voice and Koikoi Voice, as well as national animate stores selling character goods, and is scheduled to be released on July 30, 1998.